Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase pricing and availability questions concerning this watch. For 2025, Tudor has launched the Black Bay 58 Red, several different variants. This one on a 5-link style bracelet, very similar to a famous corporate cousin's Jubilee. This is a great looking watch that is compact in its dimensions but has all of the capabilities of the larger Black Bays. So we're talking master chronometer, manufacturer caliber inside, 39 millimeters steel exterior. That's the diameter of the watch. It's 12 millimeters thick from lug tip to lug tip, 47.8 millimeters with a 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. This is the flavor of 2025 at Tudor, and you can see that on a 5-link bracelet with a distinct dressy overtone to it. This lovely watch with fairly compact size and a handsome contrast between red and silver white steel. It can be formal if you wish to wear it that way. You can dress it up with a suit and it is perfectly suited, pun intended, for that application, but it can also dive. It's a true ISO 6425 diver. The bracelet is just what changes the character. On my 16 centimeter circumference wrist, no issues whatsoever. I could envision this watch wearing well on a wrist as small as 13.5 centimeters circumference, and being thin, it will fit underneath most dress cuffs. You'll appreciate that the end links of the bracelet are pivoted, so you can pull the bracelet 90 degrees down from the case band to wear it on a really small borderline wrist, so there's no fight, flare, or solid end link stiffness. The end link is integrated, and then we have a little bit of a taper down toward the clasp. You'll note that the outer faces of the links, they're roughly lentil shaped and polished, and then we have these center links, which you can see quite easily are solid. They're polished. And then we have these outer links with satin shoulders, and then removable links fixed by screws. And you do have quite a few removable links, so you will be able to get the size. And if you can't perfectly size it, that's where T-Fit comes in. An incremental adjustment system that's built into the clasp. You can adjust all the way out if you want to use it more as a dive extension over a suit, or you can use it in smaller increments. It has about 8 millimeters of total adjustable length. The clasp is pretty robust, being a thick gauge of stainless steel, and then you can see that we have ceramic spring-loaded pin snaps because the steel can never wear down the ceramics. The question is, how can we make the tolerances of this clasp endure over years and decades of use? And the answer was these little spring-loaded ceramic pin snaps. So where the steel snaps into place within the clasp and where the clamshell locks into place externally, you have those ceramic pin snaps. And so they will maintain the tight, snappy, factory-like tolerance over time because the steel cannot grind down the ceramic. There's the Tudor shield in Media Blast and polish. Note, we also have satin, so we have Media Blast, polish, and satin all on this little component right here. Rolling back outside, around to the case. We have nostalgic, albeit machine-applied bevels, reminding us of the kinder, gentler time when Rolex and its younger brother Tudor shared cases, and they featured hand bevels. Well, those bevels are back. Again, mechanically applied, but still lovely. We have satin finish on the lug hoods, which is more of a vintage aesthetic for a diver, and then so is the no-crown look outboard. You can see that the Tudor rose logo of the pre-1968 era is featured on the crown, and then we have the mid-1968 and forward shield-style logo. So this watch has both 60-click bezel, with an excellent detent. It's really quite satisfying and chunky. Micro knurling, which is easy to grip with wet, sweaty, or gloved hands. We talked about vintage aesthetic, and there's two more elements of it here. One, we have a dramatically cambered sapphire that looks like a vintage plexi. And two, we have a lovely red aluminum anodized bezel insert that has a very vintage metallic sheen to it. Turning out the light real quick, you can see it's easy to line up the minute hand with that bezel pearl, so you can use it as a dive timer. Unidirectional one, it can only shorten a dive, it cannot extend it. And I often prefer a dive bezel to a chronograph because I find them easier to read, more intuitive, and they don't have the downstream service costs of a chronograph. You can also see the so-called snowflake style hands used on the dial, a little nod to the Tudor Submariners of the late 60s through mid-70s. No date dial, of course, this is a vintage inspired watch, but we also have a chapter ring outboard, which is a nice homage to that vintage period of the 50s and 60s. But we do have applique indices, so that's an upscale look on a burgundy metallic dial base. Inside the case, we have what Tudor calls the MT5400U, the main change being that it is now a master chronometer compared to the previous COSC. What is it? Well, it's COSC Plus. The movement still meets the COSC standards, but then fully cased up, it's tested in 6 positions, not 5 like the COSC test. And again, cased up, not bare, like the COSC test. It also tested power reserve, winding efficiency, durability, water resistance, and anti-magnetism. And the magnetism test is over 15,000 Gauss. So what the Omega master chronometer has, so too does this. Silicon anti-magnetic hairspring, anti-magnetic escapement, balance staff, 65-hour power reserve, the 4 Hz beat rate, 27 pivot joules. And the difference between the 5400 and the 5600 series is that the 5400 was made thinner and smaller to fit in smaller cases. So though you can't see it, Tudor felt it was important to have a properly sized movement inside the watch, and that is a kind of hand-in-glove manufacture capability and integrity you don't often see. While there is no date, there is a stop second or hacking function, and some people might ask, why is this movement equipped with a 65-hour power reserve, whereas the pre-master chronometer movements featured 70? The answer likely lies in the chronometric power reserve of the watch, and I believe that the mainspring likely features a torque plateau that lasts for about 65 hours. So I do not doubt that they can still run for 70 hours like the pre-master chronometer version. What I doubt is that they can run at master chronometer timing tolerances for that long. Therefore, I believe Tudor is under-promising and over-delivering. 65-hour chronometric is a safe bet, and I think 70 is still the absolute. But they want you to wind it before 65 hours elapse or wear it on your wrist because it is automatic. If you love this watch, you should also know it is quite shock resistant, featuring a free-sprung balance and a full balance bridge that makes it tough stuff, anti-magnetic, water resistant, and shock resistant. Reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.